Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show.
Welcome to Consulting Leaders Podcast, a place where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your own practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, John Degnan. Join me as we talk with the best consultants in their niche. Dr. Jay Rains is definitely one of them. He's a leadership consultant, executive coach, and leader of LeadersQ, where he helps organizations design and scale high-performing team cultures. With over 30 years of experience in global consulting work across enterprises and SMEs, he brings a practical framework for turning culture into measurable results. Here, we explore how consulting firm owners can move forward beyond training and build true ownership across their teams. Welcome, Dr. J. It's great to see you.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for having me on the show.
So you're the author of the book Culture Brand. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this book has come out of some of the work that we've been doing with our clients. And, as we were working with them, we began to notice that, and I talk about this in the book, how I felt like I was having to go in and do surgery and diagnose the problem for teams and kind of, because I'm a leadership coach. So I go into a team and help them figure out how do we work better together? How do we create the synergy to win together? And so I love things like Pat Lencioni, things that he's written. So if you're familiar with his writings, but I felt like we were always doing surgery, is always this diagnose, identify the problem, surgically remove the issue, maybe create an action plan around it. And it seemed very illness focused. And so really I began to shift my workshops and my seminars more into health focused instead of figuring out what's wrong. Maybe what do we want to be? Where's the vision of where we want to go? And so much more of a health focus on the team. And then what ended up happening is we developed these tools to help teams identify who they want to be and then move everyone, kind of measure everyone against it. And that's where the idea of culture brand came out. We want to design the culture that you want and then make that your brand, put all that together, that everything that we're doing is pulling for the mission that we're all striving for together. Absolutely.
What got you into consulting in the first place?
Yeah, so I was actually started, my family, me and my wife, our two kids, we packed up a few years ago in 2010 and moved to India. And there was a need there for leadership development. And we began working with some corporations there to provide leadership development. I built a team and just really fell in love with that. I had already done leadership, but it was just a nice kind of a shift for me to be able to kind of go into a different culture and see what the gaps were for them and come up with some solutions. So as our family transitioned back to the U.S. About 10 years ago, some of the partners that I partnered with to do that project in India were saying, I've got things here in the U.S. I've got a team here in the U.S. I like what you're doing there. Could you work with them here? And in fact, I share about one of those, Scott Clark, in the book. And so I just started working with that team and other teams around the country. And little by little, added an extra coach every year or so on the team. And now there's 10 of us, executive coaches working together to help teams around the country.
Got you. Going to India, what an experience that is. Coming back now 10 years later, you must have unique insights into how to customize your approach and your systems to different situations.
Right. So, it's an interesting question because obviously it's a different culture. And here we are, a lot of us in business are talking about culture. And I think it's really hard for most business leaders to even define what is culture. And so I do want to make the distinction, culture here, we're talking about organizational culture in the book, but there are some relationships between, going to a new place. I mean, you drop into a country and you've got to kind of figure out how to operate where the rules aren't spelled out, and you've got to figure out the rules, and you make a lot of mistakes along the way. I can tell you about quite a few of those, especially misusing words that were very embarrassing moments for me in India. But yeah, so learning from cross-cultural living helped me, I believe, kind of figure out a little bit more about how to do, because each business is kind of like its own culture.
Sure.
And we want to create that and really own the culture that we're building.
Sure. What specific problem are you helping with your clients solve today, and why does it matter so much to you personally to solve that?
Well, the world is getting kind of crazy. Unless we just look around, you look in the paper, you look on the news, and it just feels a little crazy. And I think one of the things that's really missing in the world is leadership. It just good, clear leadership, and in every sector. I'm not pointing out any specific sector, but I'm wondering if the generations that are coming up are catching the great leadership that we've had in the generations before. It seems like we're kind of losing generations that were great leaders. And so I want to bridge that gap between all the great stuff we know about leadership, deliver that to new generations, but also help people have great work environments. I hear too many times that people are frustrated with work. They don't like their job. Maybe they're thinking about just leaving, doing something on their own because they can't find an organization they like to work with. And so I like creating teams that are happy together, but they also win together. And I think those two things have to go together. So we're trying to create organizations that are thriving, not just surviving day by day.
Tell me more about your ideal clients.
Well, we've worked with all sizes, but right now I think our sweet spot is kind of that under 30 million, under 100 employees. Typically, what I'm offering with leadership, we offer kind of how to design your people side, but also how to design the ownership execution side. And typically the companies that we seem to gravitate to us the most are the ones who maybe they don't have a full-blown HR. Maybe they are founders that have built a team, and they're starting to feel a little bit too much distance from the culture of the team. And so I think somewhere under that, anywhere from really like $500,000 to 20 million, that's a real sweet spot for most of the clients that we work with, because we can really come alongside of them. And actually, I have people that have actually put me as a contractor on their org chart because we're just part of the team.
Interesting. How do clients typically find you, and what does work best for you to attract the right organizations?
So yeah, I mean that's always a nut we're trying to crack, right? And to understand our client. I worked really hard to get this book out. And funny thing, just to mention, if someone's thinking about writing a book, just know that the day you publish is like stepping up to the starting gun of a marathon. Like that's just all the preparation you've done. It's not the race. The race is, well, what do you do after you've published a book, and how do you talk about that? And so I'm in that part of the race. I mean, we're just 2 months into having published, and so I'm looking at this as a 2-year book launch of getting my message out. I think it's kind of a best kept secret. I want the world to know about it. And so I think the book, and then I'm coupling that with a podcast that we're rebranding, relaunching here soon, that is looking at intelligence, all the intelligences, and helping leaders leverage the intelligences around them, their own and AI and all the different intelligences, emotional intelligence at our disposal. And so a friend and I are going to be pulling in guests and talking about how to lead in this crazy world that we're in, and how to leverage all of those intelligences for our team. So podcast, I see social media and LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, but I see those as more like after someone's heard about me or heard about my book, then they have a place to go and kind of do a deep dive and see, is this somebody I can really trust? Is this somebody I would really relate to? So I see it more as what I call a backstop, not the forward first view that they might have of me. So we try to share as much of our thinking and stuff and get that out there on YouTube and LinkedIn, and we use Instagram and Facebook. But all those are places where I want to give people a chance to see one thing, but then think, I want to check out 3 or 4 more things from this person and see if this is someone who really is talking about what I'm dealing with and who could really help me right where I am.
Sure, you're aligned with the right client.
Yeah.
When you're selling culture transformation, how do you make something intangible feel concrete enough for clients to commit?
Well, for one, I can share examples of teams that have used my tool. We're talking about culture. Culture feels very squishy. It feels very intangible. Mm-hmm. And so what I've said is there's really, and I'll share this with you right here. I mean, anyone listening can use this. This is the nutshell, the basic of my book, is that I think culture can be melted down to really just 3 things. And if you could get your mind wrapped around these 3 simple ideas and then triangulate them in your organization, making sure they're all getting emphasis, then I think you'll have a really strong handle on your culture. And I show you in the book how to do that. But the 3 buckets, you might call them, 3 big areas are, how do we get results? So results, think about that word. You're not in business if you're not getting results. The problem is so many companies are so results oriented. They're just running over people. There's a lot of turnover. It's just all about the numbers, all about results, and people feel really kind of run over. But maybe they're winning, right? And so there's results. That's a bucket. We've got it. We can't dial that down. We need to keep it dialed up. The second bucket that we want to dial up on is teaming. Let's get result. Teaming, like how do we work together?
Okay.
So I use the verb team. Rather than team, I say teaming because I think it's something that should be active, ongoing, teaming. And so I talk about this in the book, that teaming is, I know how to do my job, and John, you know how to do your job. But here on this podcast, let's figure out how to get a chemistry going that makes it like awesome. Like it's more than just my addition and your addition. It's something more than 2 and 2 to come together. It's like 2.5 when we get together, right? It becomes something more special. So I think on a team, you have that opportunity for teaming is the multiplier for your business. If you're looking for, multiple, I know we're all looking for multiples, right? Ways to maximize and multiply. Teaming and collaborate. What I mean by teaming, I mean collaboration. Are we communicating? Are we really collaborating? Are we developing others? Or are we just kind of keeping all the information ourselves? And then the encouragement part. Are we keeping everyone's encouragement full, right? Do people feel engaged with those 3 things? So we do a deep dive on each of these buckets. There's 3 characteristics for each one, and those are the 3 for teaming. And so many writings, so many books I've seen have talked about those 2. Are we getting results? How do we do it together? What I've done is said, I think there's a 3rd group of leadership books out there that need to be factored in. So if you go into a library, you pull every leadership book off the shelf, I think you could sort them onto 3 tables. 1 table with books about how to get results, right? 1 table about how we do this together, teaming. The 3rd table is what I'm calling a character table. It's that self-leadership part. It's the what's in my heart, what's in my attitude, what's my mindset about showing up at work. And so this 3rd one, I think it to me, as I wrote the book, it just became more and more clear. This is the linchpin. This is the one that maybe you've been to the playground. You've seen the seesaw in the playground where, you're either one side or the other. And sometimes businesses can either feel really heavy on results or really heavy on relationships. What I'm saying is character is the middle hinge point. It's the leverage point. And so I really spend a lot of time in the book talking about how to examine individual character, mine and yours, and then how to measure that for the business. And so I put character into 3 subcategories. One is coachability. Can this person receive feedback? But let's talk about it. Let's build that muscle. It's a muscle. Let's build that muscle. I look at, are they dependable? And dependable is more than just clocking in, clocking out. Dependable is, do you turn your reports in on time? Are you a person of your word? Do you follow through on your promises? And so, the commitment level. And then the third subcategory in character is just this word ownership and personal ownership. And so I talk about how to measure that, how to look at a person, and even how to sit across the table and say, hey, I struggle with this. Let's work on this together. And so at the end of when you design your culture brand, you really have 9 factors to look at in these three categories.
Interesting. Culture, result, teaming, character, coaching, dependability, ownership. That's great. Those are great. Those are great bullet points to keep in mind. I appreciate those.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
How do you retain clients over time, and what do you make sure to keep them coming back for long-term relationships?
When I was first forming the company, I was coming from India from more of a workshop, maybe like a long engagement, 9-month type engagement, type workshop environment. And that worked really well, but it was contracts that started and ended, right? Well, as I developed this company, I went to clients and I said, what do you want? I actually talked to them. And one of the things we realized was that coaching was something that always fits the moment. There's always a need for one more inch, 1 more percent, 1 more level of growth. And so, taking that opportunity to help grow each person. So coaching, what I do in our contracts, we offer a 30-day rolling contract. I'm going to earn your business every month. If I'm not earning your business, let's cancel next month. And so I feel like that's my responsibility. If I'm not delivering for you, if my team isn't delivering, maybe you got the wrong coach and we can switch it to one of the other 9 of us, right? So we could try that. So that's another way we've noticed that's helped with client retention, is having a team approach to coaching. But also, this rolling contract has really been, I think, a winning aspect for our team. It's one of our value adds, I believe, because I'm saying I've got to earn your business every month. But it also doesn't put an end date on our contract, right? It's rolling. So I think that's helped a lot with just the longevity. We've got some clients we've been working with for 9 years, and from the beginning, and people have come and go within that organization, but we're still there and we understand them well enough to help guide and keep them on their mission. So like I said, we're kind of on the org chart almost, and part of the team.
One quote you have is, the development of people is our most important legacy. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, there's some layers to that. I'll share a quick story that relates to it. I was in India. This is in India. There's a tree that you can visit, and it's called the Great Milk Tree in English. That's how you would translate it. And it's this massive tree. If you look at it from Google Earth, you can actually see it on Google Earth. It's on the southwest side of Bangalore. And if you look up banyan tree in Wikipedia, this tree is actually on the Wikipedia site, at least it was last time I checked. This tree is about 3 acres big. It's huge. You just imagine, massive tree.
Wow.
You know, many, many, many years old. And I've walked under this tree. I've got some pictures of our family, and there's monkeys, and it's kind of a park, and there's walkways. But how is this possible? How could a tree be that big? It's because there was a center tree that grew up. It's a banyan tree, and the way a banyan tree works is it puts out branches, and those branches then put down feeders into the ground from the end of the branches. So those feeders get really thick, and they become new tree trunks because they have a root system. And so what's happened is there's really hundreds of these tree trunks from the original center trunk. I'm getting to the answer to your question, that people are our greatest legacy. What's interesting about this tree is it's missing the original trunk. The original trunk is gone. It died, or it had some problem along the way. And so if you look at it from Google Earth, there's kind of a hole in the middle, and that's where the original tree was. So what I'm saying about that is I want to be that center tree for the influence I have. I want to invest in other people, that they get deep root systems, they learn how to lead, and they learn how to self-feed, and how to grow, and how to then also network that out, right? And so we're all kind of building this leadership DNA that we're passing along, but there's a life beyond my life. And so, making money is great, but that's not a legacy. Family, that's a great legacy. But when we're thinking about business, products are going to get outdated. But people, there's just no more important resource in the world than people. It's humanity. And so I don't know, maybe somebody else could say that better, but it's something I believe, and it keeps me going every day, on every call, on every interaction. I love drawing out the best in people and then helping them go out the door and do that on their own and have that confidence.
Got you. Looking ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunity for culture and leadership consulting over the next few years?
Well, we're in this AI generation, right? And so I think we are on the verge of losing some of our humanity in real life. This is literally happening, John, as we speak. In the last 5 minutes, AI has transformed. It's probably part of this recording. Like, there's things happening right now with AI right now. And so I think to stay ahead of that and to really remember our humanity is just going to be so important. And culture is just a big word that captures a lot of that sentiment and what we're working on. We leaders are responsible for culture. And if we don't lead it, it will turn to chaos. There'll be microcultures all over your organization. If leaders will lead and show people where they want them to go, then those people can say, I'm not a part of that, I'll move on. But the ones that stay are in it together. And I think we can do so much more when we have strong cultures. We can help the world. We could end hunger. We could do so many wonderful things if we could learn to work together better.
On a lighter note, you mentioned India's travels. You also mentioned your wife and your children. You like to go on adventures. In 2026, any new adventures for your family?
Yeah, so I'm actually recovering from a broken leg that I broke while running a marathon. I was running a half marathon. I was at the finish line, and I had just mid-stride, my tibia just fractured in half. And so that was 4 months ago. I'm recovering. So the adventure thing has been a little bit more about getting myself back in good health. But there's several things I love we're trying to get back to. We just got back from a camping trip. We love taking our little, we have a teardrop camper. It's just big enough for like the two of us, my wife and I. So we love kind of taking that around and, getting out into nature. I woke up on the beach 2 days ago, and it was amazing just kind of being out like that.
Nice.
But I love fly fishing, and as far as adventures, we love to travel. We haven't been overseas so much, and I think we want to get back to going and seeing some other parts of the world, like Europe, and maybe add a continent to our list.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Dr. J, you shared an awful lot with us today, and we really appreciate it. LeadersQ, where can we find you if we want to learn more about you?
Well, there's LeadersQ.com. It's leaders with the letter Q at the end.com. I also have, everything is on my website. My personal website is jayraines.com, JAYRAINES.com. You can find my book there. You can book me for a keynote or, a workshop seminar. I'd love to come in and introduce these concepts to your team and help you all win together. So jayraines.com. Also, you can find me, Dr. J. Raines, on LinkedIn, and drop me a DM. Let's get to know each other. I'd love to. I'm kind of one of these people that hardly ever meet a stranger, so I love to meet new people and love to interact and meet any of you listeners out there.
You have one of the cooler backdrops, LeadersQ in the background. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I appreciate that.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Very cool. Well, we're going to put all the links in the description. Dr. J, thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your insights and learning more about your book, Culture Brand.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Principal Podcast. We hope you learned valuable strategies to grow your firm and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.